Welcome back. I'm going to read one of my stories today. The name of the story is Mind Your Manners. In the South, learning your manners was as important as breathing. From the time you were able to understand words, you were told to mind your manners. In our household, these valuable lessons began in the summer of our 4th year, and we were expected to be proficient at them by the age of 5. I can vividly remember playing in the yard with my sisters, Ann Hampton and Penny, when Mama would call us in for our manners lesson. We'd beg Mama to let us keep playing, but she never gave in, for this was serious business. With little dirt bead necklaces around our necks, we reluctantly came inside, but we continued to stick out tongues at each other and whine. Mama would return to the dining room with water to cool us down, take one look at us, raise her eyebrow, and all nonsense would immediately stop. Mama's eyebrow was like a thermometer. When it went up, we better not say another word. I wonder if Mama ever truly knew how powerful her eyebrow was. When teaching us manners, Mama would always use the name Mrs. Jones. She would sit at the table and say, "Catherine, what do you say when Mrs. Jones comes up to you?" I would say, "How do you do, Mrs. Jones?" And she would then explain to us that we needed to say something really pleasant, like, "You look so pretty, Mrs. Jones," or "Your hair is lovely, Mrs. Jones." We were never to say yes or no without a ma'am or sir attached to it. Over and over, Mama would ask us questions that had a response of yes or no, and we had better add that ma'am and sir. It always seemed like hours went by while we practiced, even though it was probably no more than 30 to 45 minutes a day. At supper, Daddy would always ask us how our manners went, mostly for Mama's sake. He knew we really hated them. At the end of summer, over breakfast, Mama told Daddy that she would like for us to go to lunch at the Ola Hotel the following day. She felt we had learned a lot that summer, and it was time to go out to a luncheon and show him our progress. She wanted to show us off. She was very proud. I should mention now that the Ola Hotel was this beautiful, old, stately hotel. Very fancy to us little girls, so it sparked a great deal of excitement. It was located right in the middle of town, and the food was absolutely delicious. It was always crowded, and everybody knew everybody. Mom and Daddy would sometimes take us to the Yola to eat their celebrated donuts. Those donuts were probably one of the most revered food memories I have. The donuts were the size of a saucer. They were fat, always warm, and melted in your mouth. To this day, I can't think of those donuts without my mouth watering. In all honesty, I've had many donuts since, but I have never had one that even came close to the Yolas. Mama was never one to get nervous, but on the morning of our manners debut, we could tell she was feeling a bit anxious. Mom and Leola washed our hair, rolled it with socks, then told us to play quietly in our room while our curls set. Mama decided we would dress alike in the pinafores she and my Nana had made for us. They were made of a dark blue and white striped fabric and went over very fancy little white blouses. Mom and Nana spent a lot of time sewing clothes for us. They were both very good seamstresses. The only problem with homemade clothes was when they found a really good deal on material, regardless of the color or comfort, they bought it, sewed it, and we wore it. The worst was the summer Nana bought 2 bolts of brown fabric. We were each made 5 or 6 pairs of scratchy brown shorts, and we did wear them over and over. That being said, our dresses were always beautiful, and we loved them. We certainly felt special this particular day as we made our way to our grown-up luncheon. Just as we pulled up to the Yola Hotel, Daddy came walking from the nearby courthouse where he had just called an early recess. He told Mama she looked beautiful, and he winked at us girls. He commented on how proud he was, walking in with his family in tow. Many people spoke to Mom and Daddy as we made our way to the table. Once seated, Mama reminded us to mind our manners. "Yes, ma'am," we all said in unison. After looking at her menu, Mama looked up and quickly said, "Girls, Colonel Adams is making his way to our table. Be polite. Catherine, you speak first. let me take a moment to describe Colonel Adams. He was about 6 feet tall, probably taller, very broad shoulders, and bald as a billiard. As he slowly approached the table, my heart started pounding. I had to speak first. It was time. He was at the table and graciously speaking to all of us. Annie Faraday, Bumps, girls, how is everybody on this beautiful day? All eyes turned on me. I mustered up my courage and blurted out in one ongoing sentence. How do you do, Mrs. Jones? Your hair looks so pretty, Mrs. Jones. Nice to see you, Mrs. Jones. And then I collapsed back in my chair. My daddy and Colonel Adams burst out laughing, and Mama turned as white as a ghost. She looked like she was going to pay us out. I thought I had done well. Ann and Penny did not say one word, and Helen looked as horrified as Mama. When we got home, Mama went straight to bed. As it turned out, I was a hero to my sisters because Mama canceled our manners lessons for the rest of that summer.